Okay, and so for today, I have a lot of stuff that I want to cover, and I'm gonna try not to overwhelm you guys too much with this, but I mean I'm gonna draw out that diagram that Pat sent out on Telegram last week, and we'll kind of dive into that, and we'll do a few team teaching segments probably, and then I heard something today that I really loved that, and it's so interesting. Sometimes I think that when I ask a question or if I have like a thought in my head, somehow the information like finds itself to me. And I love that, right? And I think, and so I saw this little clip of a video today just talking about this whole like fear and scarcity loop that we run in. And so at the end, I'll share that with you guys. But let's start off with a little meditation and just ground us into the space. So if you want to shut your camera off, and take a nice deep breath through your nose and sigh it out. Coming into this moment, take another big deep breath in through your nose. Try to audibly sigh it out, signaling to your body to completely relax. Do a little body scan and just check in with yourself. Are you holding on to tension anywhere? Can you signal your body to completely relax? How are you feeling physically, mentally, emotionally? Maybe you had a busy day and are still feeling a little tightly wound. That's okay. Just notice it. And now imagine we're going to pull in both light from above your head and from the ground. One traveling down through the crown of your head, filling your body, going to your heart space. And then another beam of light coming up from the earth through the bottom of your feet. And again, meeting at your heart center. Both these streams of light are restoring your body back to balance, restoring all the cells back to their divine blueprint. It's bringing you into harmony and balance. Merging at your heart center. And just breathe here with your attention placed on your heart. When your attention is on your heart, you are present in the moment. You're not giving your attention to the chatter of the mind. It's a lot quieter in there. And this is all we ever have is this present moment. And maybe set an intention to lead from your heart. to go about your day, moving from the heart space instead of the mind. And set your intention for what frequency you want to be on. Do you want to be in joy, peace, harmony? What is it? Bliss. And just ask yourself, what would it feel like to be that right now? And align with that feeling. What does it feel like to be peaceful? And when you're ready, you can start taking some deeper breaths.
Breath.
And just wiggle your toes and blink your eyes open. Cool. Sorry, Megan. Were you waiting in the waiting room? Sorry about that.
I was like, wow, I was really into the meditation. I was like, wow, Adrienne hasn't said anything for like 2 minutes.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. And my eyes were closed, so I didn't see. I'm sorry.
All good.
Cool. All right, let's do some wins. Yep, no problem, Mike. Who wants to start with a win? And Megan, I want to hear your story also. Do you want to go first?
Sure, I feel like it's kind of my win. So
Okay, great. Awesome.
yeah, we had playoffs were yesterday for my daughter's volleyball games, and they lost a really tough match that they should have won.
Mm.
Really frustrated, and so I just went and sat and used one of the meditation videos, and I just did some meditation. I'm like, all right, this is a winning team. I am so unbelievably lucky to be here, and just like kind of got back into that gratitude space.
Mm.
And so that felt like a big win because it was so loud and there's like parents everywhere, and I'm like meditating.
I love that.
And then I was like, all right, let's just go for a walk. Went for a walk, saw the beautiful falls. And then I got a message that the team they lost to had an illegal player, and they were back in the running for first or second place, had a bid for the
Wow.
Nationals Open tournament. And I know it's probably not my manifestation and my meditation, but man, did it feel like the universe
Wow.
reciprocated. So anyway, that's the
Cool.
story. So they won the whole tournament. They have
Oh,
the
they
best
did.
connections. Yeah.
Wow. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. Congrats to you and your daughter. How old is she
She's
again?
seven. Oh, she's
Oh,
16. She plays on the
16.
17s team.
Okay. Okay, cool. So is she a sophomore or junior?
Junior.
Junior. Okay, cool. That's fun.
Thanks. Yeah. So that's my win.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. That's a fun story. I know sometimes that happens. Sometimes we try to manifest something that's not exactly the way we wanted it, but we're like, oh, okay, well, that works. Cool.
Thanks.
Who's next?
I'll go.
Thank you.
I just want to acknowledge I'm having a little bit of a difficult day, a little challenging, but I'm really looking forward to spending time with you all today. And my win is that my team got together and we went through 5 hours of coaching
Oh, wow.
yesterday, which was just great. And just, it's such a strong team at work. And I am so grateful that I work with these women. and so fortunate. And also, big win. I leave for Cozumel tomorrow to work remote.
Oh, yay. Awesome. Woo.
Thanks for all your help with that,
Yeah,
Adrienne.
of course. I didn't do anything, you did it, but that's so fun. Love that. Great wins. Thanks for sharing. And yeah, I'm having not the best day either. It's just kind of one of those days. So um yeah, but I always get energized from these groups. So thank you all. Cool. Greg, do you want to go?
Well, I literally 2 minutes before this got off I'm on the board of this. It's like for an hour, it's back and forth, back and forth. And it's like, you guys are thinking small, you're thinking small, you're thinking small. Are we not going to think small here? So, well, the answer is no, we're going to think small. So, which led me to think, all right, you either have to figure out how you can still do something that you feel is worthwhile, that does value what you're trying to do, or you need to move on. So it's like it's not really that hard until you make it hard. Um, and then yeah, I mean, just trying, the challenge to all this is trying to play big with small habits.
Mm.
You
Yeah.
keep getting triggered, and it's like, right, how do I get past this? How do I get past this? I need to
Mm.
get past this. If I don't, then we know where that is.
Well, I like that though. You said trying to play big with small habits. Is that what you just said?
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that.
Or not, having it's almost worse when you have a few big habits and a few or even more small habits. I mean, you have to have some big habits or you can't even think big.
Yeah.
But yet trying to get to this space where you're playing big, and it's obviously a general term I'm using. I mean, that's my big thing I'm going through.
Okay. Well, let's
And
hear the win.
well, the fact I'm even here.
Okay.
I mean, the fact I'm even doing this. I mean,
Okay. I love that. Yeah.
it's it's
Cool.
it's I mean, I mean, I got I don't know, if you want something just to make you feel better. I have, I mean, I have a podcast that I've been doing, and we're getting 800 downloads a week now.
Nice. Cool.
So it's like, man, it's kind of fun. There's something I can work with.
Yeah. Awesome. I love that. Yeah, and the fact that you are here. You so I'm just trying to refocus your brain, right? Because it is going to be it is hard, right? And we just want to focus our brain onto, okay, like, yeah, and I like that, aligning our habits with, and having those big habits, which we can't always do, but even just having that podcast, right? And like, yeah, maybe. I think about this a lot too with like every content piece that I put out, right? Every post that I put out, every email that I send, like it's all a deposit into the field, right? And maybe only that day, 50 people see the post, right? And maybe I get like a couple likes. But, at some point, that same post could blow up, right? And thousands of people could see it. So same thing with like a podcast, right? Like a client could find that a podcast that you did a year from now and like binge all your stuff and then call you up and want to work with you, right? And so it's just all deposits being made. So I love that. Cool. Reagan?
How about we start with cowboy hats? custom cowboy hats in the hit series Yellowstone. Or my daughter married a true cowboy,
Mm.
and he's never had a custom cowboy hat. And if you've ever been to Elizabeth outside of Parker here, Powder River Custom Brook, he makes fabulous custom cowboy hats.
Ooh.
So it's kind of a story of just staying in front of people and having nonverbal communication and staying off the phone. But I ordered this hat December of 2023,
Oh,
and
wow.
are cruising into April. I could have built a house faster than getting this cowboy hat. So a couple of weeks ago, I just said, you know what? I got to go out and find out what's going on. And he was in there super busy, but all of a sudden, he was telling me you couldn't get the blank of this still color for this cowboy hat, but he had something that was really close to it. And
Mhm.
A week later, I got a call here on Saturday that hat was done. And
Nice.
so I've been waiting around. Sometimes it just pays to go have a nice little conversation. And like they say, you attract a lot more flies with honey than with
Mhm.
vinegar. And having a conversation, and next thing I know, I got the cowboy hat. So that's my win of the week.
Cool. I like it. Great win. Awesome. Thanks for sharing. So that's fun. So it's for your daughter's husband?
Correct.
Yeah, cool. I'm sure he'll appreciate it. Did you give
Well,
it to him
it's
yet?
pretty amazing. Sometimes I wonder if I'm in the wrong business, how busy he is. He's selling a gazillion cowboy hats to
I
men,
know. Yeah.
and it just he was explaining all the stuff through Yellowstone, just how cowboy hats have gone through the roof.
Yeah.
So
It's a whole thing. And I know like in all the mountain towns, like, well, first of all, there's like the high-end stores like Kimosabi where you can make it. But then
I
there's all these like pop-ups coming up now where like these people have like a pop-up booth at all like the farmers markets and the fairs and stuff. And it's like you basically like can make your own custom hat and they put all the stuff on them. And yeah, it's just like an exploding business right now. So
Yeah, and
cool.
I've been buying cowboy hats from him for 10, 15 years for family and friends. And 6 months is about the longest you have to wait. It's crazy. So anyway, not to ramble, that's my win.
Nice. Cool. Love it.
Maybe Reagan needs a
Pat,
cowboy hat.
I've
yeah,
got
right? Oh, you
GM
do?
shelves. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Cool. I like it. Are they from the same guy?
One of them is for
Oh,
sure.
it
Yeah.
is. Cool. Nice. Love it. I love hats. All righty. Pat, I know you're just listening in, so we will just skip you for the wins.
Sounds good. I'm with my kids on spring
Oh,
break, so
okay.
that's my win.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a great win.
Thank you.
Um, cool. All right, I'm gonna start sharing my screen so I could draw out this diagram. All righty. Cool. Can you guys see this? See my screen, the dots? Okay. So fear, doubt, worry, right? Bob Proctor would say that there's literally only one problem that anyone ever has, and it's ignorance. Okay, and that the opposite of ignorance. So uh-oh. Why isn't my pencil working? Hang on. I just charged it. I don't know why. I'm gonna have to undo that for a second. Hmm. Oh no. It's like not registering when ooh, I see what's happening. Nope, still not going. All right. I'm gonna have to try to do this with my finger. It's not gonna look pretty. Uh, yeah, this is gonna be difficult, but we're gonna try. Okay. So we're gonna go to the stick man. Why? Oh, it's like not even allowing me to do it with my finger. Oh no. Okay. I'm going to have to, let's see what I can do here to, if I could pull up like just I'm gonna pull up that thing that Pat sent out and we're gonna do it that way. Sorry, guys.
Patrice, I leave to Mexico on Saturday morning. I'll be waving at you.
Nice.
I leave at 3:30 in the morning.
Well, the good thing is you can have a cocktail once you get on the plane.
Exactly.
That's a pretty early day.
And just if anybody needs a smile.
Aw, cute.
She wanted to be part of the coaching call today.
All right, I almost have this here. Okay, here we go. I'm sorry, guys. And these are, I'm going to have to do it in two parts. So here's the first one. Okay. So Bob says that the only problem that we ever have in the world is ignorance. Okay. And the opposite of ignorance is not is knowledge. But again, we always have an energy that's flowing to and through us, and it's up to us if we want to make it negative or positive. We actually always have a choice between these two, right? Between the negative polarity and the positive polarity. Now, when there's ignorance, and the other thing I want to mention too about knowledge is that all knowledge is 100% present at all times. And actually, like all the answers are inside of us already, right? And so it's just about asking the right questions, finding that knowledge. And but anyway, but he would say too that all knowledge exists at the same time. Like the internet has always existed, but we just had to get on the right frequency to bring it into physical reality, but it always existed. It was always there. Okay, so when we look at this ignorance side, it's the negative polarity. And what happens when we might start to have worries or doubt start coming in, right? And if we don't understand like how the mind works, if we don't understand this material that we're working with or universal laws, like we try to go after a goal, right? And then we start thinking like, oh, well, I don't have the money to do that, or I don't have the skills to do that, or whatever it is, we start worrying, right? Now, when we start to internalize worry and doubt into our subconscious mind, which, if you remember from the stick figure, the top half is the conscious mind, the bottom half is the subconscious mind, it turns into fear. We start feeling fear. So worry and doubt internalized turns to fear, and we start feeling fear because the subconscious mind is our feeling mind, basically. Then again, when we're feeling that fear, it turns to a physical state of anxiety. Right? So when we have a lot of fear, it makes us anxious. And it's a physical state that our whole body is in. And what happens when we have anxiety is we don't express it, right? We're not expressing it. We actually suppress it because it doesn't feel good, right? We don't want to feel anxiety. And so we push it down. And then when it gets pressed down, when we suppress it, it turns into depression potentially or dis-ease in the body, right? And Bob would always say to hyphenate that word, dis-ease. It's a body that's not at ease. And there's a woman, Louise Hay. Have any of you guys ever heard of Louise Hay? Cool, Patrice has. I love her. She's like one of my favorite like self-help authors. And she wrote a book in the 80s called um, You Can Heal Your Life. And it's all about how your thoughts are actually creating the disease in your body. So she was kind of like a pioneer in that. But Bob talks about that too, right? When we suppress the anxiety, it turns to dis-ease in our body. And then it's disintegration. So we really are we're either going forward or we're going backwards. There's really no staying the same because everything's always in motion, right? This whole reality, this whole world that we live in, nothing is ever staying the same. Everything is constantly changing. So you can never just stay the same. If you're staying in the same place, you're actually slowly getting worse because there's something called the law of entropy going on. So that's the negative polarity, right? Worry and doubt in the thinking mind, fear in the subconscious emotional mind, anxiety in the body that leads to dis-ease, right? And that doesn't sound fun. So now we move to the positive polarity. Can you guys see this? The positive side? No. Okay. I'm gonna have to stop and reshare. Okay, so how do we get out of ignorance, right? We want knowledge. How do we gain knowledge? Well, it's through study, right? We want to study this stuff. And that's why I say it's so important to study this stuff every day, right? We want to study how the mind works. We want to study these universal laws like the law of attraction and the law of vibration, because then it helps us have an understanding. So once we have an understanding, we can say like, okay, here's my big beautiful goal. It's here, it's coming. I know that if I stay in the right vibration, everything I need will be attracted to me. And so when you start internalizing those positive, more positive thoughts, right? Like, okay, I know this is possible, I'm limitless, I can do anything, whatever it is, then that goes into the subconscious mind is faith, right? And so faith is the opposite of fear. And like what Pat was saying last week, both faith and fear require us to believe in something that's unseen, right? So we always want to like move to the faith instead of the fear, right? Because they're both having us believe in something that doesn't exist, right? So we can train our mind to have faith instead of being in that fearful state, right? So that understanding, that is developed through study, then becomes faith, and then it goes into the body. And when you have faith, right, and you are working towards like your big beautiful goal, like you're excited, right? And so that person is in a better state and they're expressing that well-being, right? They're expressing because they have energy, right? They have this positive flow that's running through their body. It's coming in, it's their thoughts are making it on that positive side, like their energy is uplifted, and so they start to accelerate too because they're literally putting their body in motion to their goal. They're taking action, they're feeling good about things. And so that is then you have your bodies at ease, right? And then that's how you go into creation, right? Because you're creating, because your wheels are in motion. You're like, okay, I'm doing the thing. I'm going to take this action step. I'm going to do this podcast. I'm going to call that person or whatever it is, right? And that puts you into that momentum, into that creation place. So these are the two poles, right? And we always have the choice. Is it through the worry and doubt, or is it going to be through the knowledge and understanding, right? So the more we study this stuff, the more we understand how our mind works, the more then we can direct our thoughts, right? The more we can have that positive place. I really believe too that like our body, so Bob was really big on, you know, he always said, just focus on your thoughts. I don't believe that that's like the full picture. I think that the body plays such an important role in it too, right? Because our body, which is like basically our whole, like, say, our nervous system, if our nervous system is not relaxed, like you can have all the positive thoughts in the world, but you're not going to be able to manifest what you want because your body is going to be in that state of stress. So it's really important that we want to work with our nervous system. We want to calm our nervous system down. We want to do things that are and the more again we study this stuff and we internalize those better feeling thoughts, like our body will feel better, but there's things that we can do specifically with our body to help calm our nervous system down. One of the things is tapping. So, do you guys know what tapping is? It's called emotional freedom technique. Yep. Megan and Patrice know. Yeah, so it's like it's this really easy thing, and I have it as one of the meditations this week. There's a guy on YouTube who makes all kinds of them, but I think the one that I included is like tapping for fear. It takes like 5 minutes to do, and it's such a great thing to do to help calm your nervous system. So, um, the more you, like most of us are living in this stressed out, anxious fight or flight state. So the more we can actually do things like tapping or even just regular meditation, because that sends us into a restful state, it's going to actually train our nervous system to help put us in that better state so that we can create. Does that make sense? Cool.
I just want to say this is super timely, and I really liked um, the actual words, the diagrams that Pat shared. Sometimes
Mhm.
um, drawings aren't as like literal for me, like to see those
Mm.
words. So it worked out great, Adrian.
Good. Um, I am going to put you guys into breakout rooms. Um, Let me just see, actually. Yeah, I'll do two and two, and so Pat can just listen in. Um, but I'll put you guys into the breakout rooms. You'll just each have a minute to walk each other through that. Do you want to take pictures of those diagrams?
We have them on Telegram, right?
Oh, okay. Yep.
Adrian, real quick, and I apologize because
Yeah.
I'm like monitoring kids, but could you
Yeah.
just simplify, or not simplify, just simply restate why, when you're in a state of, I don't know what you call that, like hyped up nervousness, not at ease, not being at ease, why that may inhibit manifestation or why that may inhibit the mind's work as well. Sorry, I can re-listen,
Yeah.
but it wouldn't
Yep.
mind hearing it twice. Thank
Yeah,
you.
no worries. So, our subconscious mind, you could almost say that our subconscious mind is our nervous system, actually. And so, if our subconscious mind does not think it's safe to have like a certain level of success, or it doesn't think it's safe to have a certain amount of money, or safe to experience a certain amount of love, it's going to do everything in its power to actually keep it away because it thinks of that thing as unsafe, right? So I'm just going to use money because it's an easy example. If you might consciously say, like, yes, I want more money, right? And then if you work really hard and you struggle and you force and you effort, you might be able to manifest more money or like, make more money. But if your body, if your nervous system isn't attuned to that, doesn't think it's safe, you're gonna manifest like unexpected bills. It's gonna like kind of flow right through you, right? And so if you want to really be in tune with how your body feels, like with whatever it is you're desiring. And the more you do this actually through either tapping or just meditation and visualizing what it is that you want and noticing how your body feels when you're visualizing. Because if you're feeling any tension, that's like a surefire sign that your nervous system isn't acclimated to that level. And again, you're just going to like sabotage yourself. So I hope that that makes sense.
Thank you, Adrian. Appreciate it.
Yep.
Adrian, have you heard, it's IFS, the internal family system?
Mm-hmm.
It feels like slightly correlated to, you've got like all these
Totally.
subconsciouses that
Yes.
are, yeah, okay.
Totally. Yes. Yes. Very much so. Yeah, we have just like these, it's just something in our subconscious mind that is just not going to allow us to have the success that we want, right? Or the money that we want, or whatever it is. Like it's going to keep us in the familiar, right? And so that's just what it's going to do. And so we can't always just enough thinking can, I think, change the subconscious mind, but really doing things like visualizing and note and like basically kind of opening, putting your body at rest, opening up your like nervous system, opening up like your energy centers, like your meridian line, is really helpful. And doing the tapping is super helpful because it's going to, you're saying statements as you do the tapping, and it's just going to really bring down that nervous energy that's going on in your body. I also just made a YouTube video recently about manifesting more money and how like you want to, so if anyone is interested in creating more wealth, you want to close your eyes and pretend like you're in a room full of money, like stacks of cash, and pay close attention to what is going on in your body. Like, does that make you feel really nervous being in a room with like stacks of cash, right? And just like notice, like, does your solar plexus tighten up, or tightness in your chest? Is there tightness anywhere? And then can you breathe into that and make yourself comfortable with that room full of money? And then do that for a few days and then expand the room. And you can actually do this to symbolize other things too. So if you want to create, say, like more love in your life, you can be like, okay, I'm going to symbolize like a pink rose for the amount of love that I can feel. Okay, let me close my eyes, pretend I'm in a room full of pink roses, see how that makes me feel. Or if it's health, right? You can use like something else to symbolize health. Maybe it's like a room full of vegetables. I don't know. I'm just making this up. But it's just kind of a good way to start like attuning your body, because the subconscious mind and your whole body are just, they're interconnected. And so we want to work with everything, the conscious mind, the subconscious mind, and the body. And that's, I think, how we can get the best results. Cool. Okay. I'm going to put you guys into the breakout rooms and just talk about that ignorance side and the knowledge side. Sound good? Okay. Hey, how did that go?
Great.
Good. Okay, cool.
Thanks, Reagan.
Thank you, Patrice.
Mhm. All right, let me share my screen for this other
Adrian,
slide.
just silly
Mhm.
and dumb analogy since I was like half there, half parenting with
Mhm.
your second explanation. You know how Bob sketches out the antennas on the top of the head, and it's like
Yep.
your senses see, smell, taste, touch, hear, whatever, whatever.
Yes.
I'm wondering if the nervous system is also like an antenna, and if it's not, like you said, feeling what you're trying to manifest, that it's like repelling it. Would that be like an easy analogy to like if you're worked up or uneasy, it's like an antenna. You need to almost be at ease or feeling the feelings that you want to feel for it to come to fruition. Or am I off?
Yeah. Yeah. I would definitely say that. Yeah, for sure. Yes, I love that.
Thank you.
Yeah,
I'm
I think
gonna
that's a
go
great
back to the
analogy. Cool. Yeah, and I'm actually studying this a lot right now, for myself, because I'm going to incorporate this actually even more so in the next round of Alchemy, is that nervous system regulation, because I'm seeing like how much it really does, that it's not just all thoughts, and it's not just all subconscious program that we do have. It is like that nervous system regulation, because as long as you, and most of us have dysregulated nervous systems actually, which then in turn don't allow us to get to where we're looking to go. So, um, cool. All right. So when we have X type of conditioning, and actually I'll just show this diagram. So, right, we have X type of conditioning in our subconscious mind. Causes us to think X type of thoughts, and then we have X type of actions with our body, right? And so when we have that X type of conditioning, as long as our goal stays in our conscious mind and we don't internalize it and get emotionally involved with it, nothing actually happens. But it is when it gets moved to the subconscious mind when the fear and the anxiety start to set in. And it could be like, okay, I'm going to, whatever's the goal that you want to go after, right? Like, Greg, I'm just going to pick on you, like buying a plane, right? As long as it's just in your thinking mind, like, oh, maybe this is something I'm going to do, there's not going to be any fear. But as soon as you start like visualizing it, looking at your picture, getting emotionally involved with it, that fear is going to come up, right? Because it's scary. It's like a big thing, right? That you haven't done before. And actually, if you're not feeling fear, you might not be thinking big enough, right? We want it because we want this goal to really expand us, right? We want what we're going after to be something really exciting. So what's really interesting, I think this is funny too. It's better to be safe than sorry. That's such a lie, right? It's a lie that we've been taught. That's not true. Fear and growth go hand in hand. Um, so when we get to this place, we really have a choice, right? Because this is what happens. We're basically in bondage. If we let our current programming keep us where we are, then we're never going to grow, right? Or I say life then forces us maybe to grow through, a catastrophic event. Maybe it's like a big financial loss or a death in the family or a divorce or something that actually then like forces you to make these changes. So we can grow before that stuff happens. So this is somebody who's stuck in bondage, X type of thoughts, X type of feelings, and X type of actions. And then you start to internalize this new idea. That's that Y idea, right? And it starts to get then impressed into your subconscious mind. And when you have that XY vibration going on, it is a chaotic vibration for the body. That could be that anxiety that you're feeling, right? This new thing that you're trying to enter into your subconscious mind. And so this is the terror barrier, right? That wall is the terror barrier. So in that moment, when you start feeling that fear, that doubt, that worry, or I say it comes up as procrastination also. If you notice that you're not doing the things that you need to do, that is actually the fear, right? But it's coming in a little bit of a sneaky way, right? It's just telling you, or maybe it's saying like, you don't have time to do that, right? So you just want to be really present with the way that that's happening. And you have two choices at this point. You could either go back into bondage and keep doing the same things, or you can plow through that terror barrier, feel the fear, do it anyway, and then there's freedom on the other side. And then this cycle repeats itself, right? Because then that new place becomes bondage again, right? So then you have to do something scary again to break out of that mold. And that's just the cycle. And so once we start understanding that fear, doubt, and worry, it doesn't mean that something's wrong. It actually maybe means that, okay, the fear is that there's power in that choice, right? That where there's fear, there's power there. And so maybe it means to do that thing anyway, right? And I notice this all the time, like being an entrepreneur and starting my own business doing this. There's been a lot of things that have really scared me along the way, and I have to kind of just push through that. And then I notice when I start getting like a little bit more complacent and I'm like, oh, okay, everything's fine, everything's going well. But I'm like, right, I'm not really stretching myself. And then I have to, take another bold step to do something to get me to where I want to go, because I know that I'm not going to be able to get there just by staying the same. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Cool. So just notice like how the mind works. Notice when that fear comes up, right? Notice, oh, I'm feeling some fear. Um, I'm worrying, whatever it is, and then you can switch it over to, okay, I'm just going to trust that this is my goal, that if I imagine it, that I feel the feelings of it, I understand how the universe works now, it's here on some level, it's going to be delivered to me. That can help ease that fear, doubt, and worry. Cool. Um, I'm gonna put you guys back in the breakout rooms one more time just to do that little segment. Does that work? Okay. So just talk about, yeah, if you want to just use that, I'll just put this back up quickly. If you want to see this guy, take a picture of that, if that's helpful, and just explain what's going on there. And here are the notes if you want that. Okay. And then I'm just going to share that last little thing when we come back. Okay. See you back in a few. Welcome back. Okay, any questions before I move on? Okay.
Adrian, Greg was
Yeah.
going to share something with me. Could you just give him
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know if he can see the chat, and I can't even see the chat right now.
okay,
There we are.
sure. Or Greg, do you want to just share or do you want to just, or what were you asking, Patrice? If,
Well, I'll read this really fast. Our deepest fear is not that we are
Mm,
inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates us, others.
I love it. Marianne Williamson, one of my favorite poems. Yeah.
It's beautiful. And I did send my mobile number, Greg, if you could share that with me. It's like it's the words, exactly the words and the feeling that I need.
Mhm.
Thanks.
Yeah, if you could send it on the Telegram channel, Greg, I would
Oh, that
appreciate
would
it.
be too.
Yeah,
All right.
Thank
thank you.
you.
Cool. Megan, were you going to say something?
I was just gonna say, like, that's awesome. That's making me like tear
Yeah.
up. That's
I
amazing.
know, right? I love that poem so much. It's from the book A Return to Love by Marianne Williamson. And I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with A Course in Miracles. So she basically taught A Course in Miracles for a long time and then wrote a book of her like interpretation of A Course in Miracles. And that book is from it. And yeah, and it's true. Our deepest fear is actually our power. Um, cool. Okay, I'm just going to go over this last little bit about fear and scarcity because I know that this is something that comes up a lot in my life. And it was just interesting when I was talking to Omani, Ron Carson. He says that like the biggest change in him was going from that fear and scarcity to love and abundance. Um, but I heard this video today that was saying how okay, when you like think about when you start a car, right? When you start a car, there's a starter in the car that helps to get the engine going. But if that starter is running all the time, it's bad for that engine. And so a lot of people, when we are beginning our careers, or yeah, let's just say beginning our careers, right? We have this like starter mechanism as to what is motivating us. And oftentimes it is fear and scarcity. And we say things like, I don't want my kids to grow up the way I grew up. I'm going to do better for them, right? I remember like growing up, I was always told that we were on a budget, and so I would always say, when I grow up, I'm never going to be on a budget. And that was my motivating force, was that, I wanted to make a lot of money because I wanted to be able to buy things when I wanted to buy them, right? I didn't want to hear that, right? But that is running from fear and scarcity, and that is actually how we lead to burnout. Just like the car, that starter like damages the engine, it damages us too when we're constantly like going from that place, right? Coming from that place of that fear and scarcity. And now what happens is that you focus then on, you have this external drive, but then all of a sudden you start to accumulate, right? So then maybe you have some money. But then it kind of switches, not from scarcity, but from fear of losing, right? And so then you have this like nest egg or money, and then you're like, okay, I don't want to lose this. But the problem is the brain doesn't understand a negative, right? So when you say, like, I don't want to lose, it hears lose. Right. And that's sometimes why like money can then slip through our fingers, because the mind is focused on losing. And this is why I say too that what we focus on expands, and that I have you always write everything in the, like when you're writing out your goal, write in positive sentences. Don't say like, oh, I never feel stressed. The brain hears stress, right? So you always want to write in affirmatives. So anyway, it leads to kind of like this vicious cycle, right? And then when we focus on um we kind of focus on our career or our job or our business as a way just to make money. And then we equate our self-worth with our net worth. And any time that we're in that loop of tying those together, we're always going to be in that fear and scarcity, right? Because it feels like it can be taken away from us, right? And it's so far from the truth, right? And I have really had to deal with this a lot in, starting from scratch again, like walking away from a high paying career, starting my business from scratch. And like for the first few years, like I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm still not making as much money as I made before. Like this must mean I'm failing, right? And I would like equate it to me like not having a successful business because I wasn't making that amount of money, and it would make me feel really shitty. And so I still have to do a lot of like internal work on this and separating those two. But if we look then at our business or our career as a vehicle that allows us to express our passion and add value to other people, it completely like changes our mindset. Okay. And so then our energy is actually channeled into um like we start understanding that money is actually just a byproduct of sharing ourselves with the world, sharing our gifts with the world, sharing our talents with the world. And, our revenue, our sales, our salary, whatever it is, our cash flow is just a byproduct of that. So then instead of focusing on how can I get more money, which is just kind of a thing that keeps us in like chasing our tails because we're chasing something that's just a byproduct, right? It's not like a tangible thing. But what if we start to focus on, okay, how can I add more value? How can I add more value? How can I add more value? And I really liked this analogy. Bob actually would say, because people often would say, okay, pay me more money and then I'll do more work. And he's like, it doesn't work like that, right? You have to do the work and then get more money. And it's the same thing, like you don't show up at a gym and say like, okay, give me strength and then I'll lift weights, right? You lift the weights and then the strength comes. And that's the same thing with money. Once we start adding value, then the money automatically follows. It's just a byproduct. And then we just want to say that money is just then a lagging indicator for the service that we're providing. And so it just gets us to completely like shift our mindset, right? And it has us come from this place like, I know I have a lot of value to add because I have a lot of gifts and talents and abilities, and I can share those. And the more I share those, the more I'm going to be rewarded from it. I also heard this thing. I was listening to a podcast over the weekend, and this guy was talking about how he was a teacher for a little while he worked in a school, and he would go to the basketball games for this high school. And he said that he would notice at the basketball games, all of the players were just like constantly looking at the scoreboard. And so he went to the coach and he said, "What's the point of this game?" And the coach was like, "Well, to win, of course." And he's like, "Well, what are you trying to do?" And he's like, "We're trying to beat the other team." He's like, "Well, I thought that the purpose of basketball was just to put the ball in the basket." And he's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Well, that's just what the purpose is like, is just focusing on putting the ball in the basket." Well, anyway, the coach went on to like have his kids only focus on that, not look at the score, and they went on to win the national championship because of it. So I love that, right? If we kind of boil things down to like the simplicity of it, money is just the byproduct, right? We can just focus ourselves on, okay, what's like the process, right? What is the process, right? I just want to add value. I want to share my gifts. And then everything else is just a byproduct of that. So I think that that can really help us switch out of that fear and scarcity that drives so many of us, right? So many of us like just have that fear and scarcity program inside of us to one of service and love and abundance, right? Because really there is so much abundance. And it's just that we want to get into the stream of that by sharing more of ourselves. Does that make sense? Yeah. I think so many of us.
Take a
Um,
rest for the dog.
sorry, Pat, were you gonna say? Did you
Oh,
say
sorry,
something?
that was my father-in-law in the background, I think.
Oh,
No, I was just going to say that gym analogy was the best analogy I've heard in a long time. So very well spoken on that. Thank you for the education.
yeah, cool. Yeah, I really liked it. I was like, oh, that makes a lot of sense, right? And it's true when we start focusing on other things. And I think, a lot of people, like, we're all here, we're all successful. Like, we probably have been driven by money. Like, I want to go out and I want to make more money. I mean, again, I know that I was when I started my career. Um, and I think it's fine to have some motivation from money, but I think it's more about, again, like, what can I provide, right? How much value can I add? And then we're very much compensated for that. So to get our focus off the money and onto service is, and actually Bob would talk about that a lot too. He's like, just ask yourself every day, how can I serve more? How can I be of service? And he's like, and then the money follows. Um, yeah. Cool. Well, we have one more week. Next week is celebrations. So, yeah, just a reminder too that if you refer anybody, you get $500 in cash or $1,000 credit towards coaching. And I will pick a winner next week too for the credit to stay in the group for another month. And yeah, and please just let me know either way, like if you have an interest in joining. I also am actually going to be sending out a survey to you guys that just helps me like continue to refine and make the program better. So would just really appreciate your feedback on that. I will get that out to you guys this week. And yeah,
Adrian, can you email me something specific that I could forward to a couple of my colleagues about Alchemy?
sure.
Yeah, just I think rather than send it through LinkedIn, anyhow, I would like to do that for you. And I just want to say heart to heart, this everybody just I feel like Pat, your questions were great. And just, Greg, thank you for sharing. You know, Megan, Reagan, Adrian, this was really a good call. I really appreciate all of you.
Good.
Right back at you, Patrice. You're awesome. It's good to be on the call with everybody. Grateful.
Yeah,
Appreciate you right back. Exactly.
me too. I love all of you guys. I just appreciate you all so much and just the energy that you bring to the group. Yeah, means a lot to me.
And Adrian, can you share a little bit if we stay in the group? Would we be starting over at module 1 or how does
Yes.
that? Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. So basically, April 8th will be the kickoff call.
Okay.
And then April 15th, we start with module 1 again.
Okay.
And I always say that it's like a second coat of paint, right? Because like it just really again helps like install the concepts into the subconscious mind. And I continue to kind of tweak things along the way. So it's not going to be like exactly. And like I said, I'm going to do some more of that like nervous system work on this next round. And then I'm going to take like your feedback if you guys do the survey for me so that I can, make the adjustments.
It'd be cool too. And Adrian, I know this is your court, not mine, but if there was some sort of thing for people who have been through it that could stay together, maybe some sort of like affordable plan, like once a month call where we review stuff, stay in touch, like work on the things that we have as challenges. That may be another interesting model that you could price and put together where people who have been through it and know each other could somehow continue on with like group chat, group therapy, if you will, and relearning some of the key things with you. I know it's sort of the same thing, but maybe there'd be another model too, just for food for thought.
Cool. Yeah, I will definitely think about that to see if I can do that. Yeah. Yeah, let me think on that. Mm, mm, mm. Yeah, I don't want to say too much, but before I
No worries. Like I said,
but
that's
yeah.
I didn't mean to put that in your court, but it, just another
Yeah,
idea of a way of helping people and keeping people in touch in the network.
Yep. I understand. Yeah, that's cool. Cool. Yeah, I will definitely think about that because I have been thinking about like redoing like my business model in a way and having maybe just a like subscription where like people could come whenever and then there's just like tiers to that subscription. So yeah, so I'll continue to rack my brain about that.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, yeah, appreciate you all. And yeah, I've been sending out those emails about Alchemy. So if you know anyone, if you want to forward those to somebody, yeah, that would be much appreciated. Cool. Well, have a great week, everyone.
Thanks,
You
Adrian.
too. See you next week.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.